Well, it's official. Canelo Alvarez is leaving Matchroom Boxing and Eddie Hearn to join Al Haymon and PBC Promotions. Obviously, this is a very big moment for boxing and Canelo Alvarez. This means that he will now be fighting 3 fights for the value of more than $100 million. And, potential opponents, mega fights that we've been waiting for from Canelo Alvarez, including the David Benavidez fight. Obviously, he's expected to fight Jermall Charlo in September of this year. But if that doesn't go down, obviously there are a number of other opponents, such as Demetrius Andrade and obviously David Morrell, another upcoming name. But that David Benavidez fight is very appetizing, obviously to all of us boxing fans. And it's a very interesting, matchup. We could even see Errol Spence move, up to 160 pounds and see Canelo come down maybe. That's another tremendous fight for the sport of boxing. But it all starts with Canelo leaving Matchroom Boxing to sign with Al Haymon and PBC. That's a big move. It's, I believe, the right move that he should have made. And I think it's a tremendous move for the sport of boxing because we've been waiting for Canelo to fight the best. We want to see him in those mega fights again. Obviously, the biggest fight that we've seen him in, in recent years was probably the Triple G trilogy. But at the end of the day, a lot of people didn't take a lot away from that trilogy because Triple G was obviously not his best. He's definitely out of his prime now. But also you could take into account the Caleb Plant fight. But I'd say that, Caleb Plant just isn't on Canelo's level. There are levels to that, and Canelo stopped Caleb Plant, and David Benavidez wasn't able to stop Caleb. Do you take that as, anything to indicate the outcome of a potential matchup between David and Canelo? I don't know. I don't take too much away from it because I think styles make fights, obviously, but it's still a tremendous fight in my opinion. David Benavidez and Canelo Alvarez, Mexican versus Mexican. You're expected to get that war inside the boxing ring. It's a tremendous fight in my opinion, and for Canelo it's a very dangerous fight, but it's also a very rewarding fight if he's able to beat David Benavidez. If Canelo can beat David, oh man, is that going to shake up the pound for pound rankings? He's going to put Canelo back at that one spot, potentially for my list at least. Maybe you still have Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford, the winner of that fight, probably at 1. But still, Canelo's back in the conversation for the greatest of all time. I think if he beats David Benavidez, in terms of fighting the best, he's up there again, because Canelo could have easily stayed with Matchroom Boxing and Eddie Hearn and made a few $100 million with another contract and fought bums and still made a great amount of money, getting wins, spectacular wins. But he chose to cross that side of the street and join Al Haymon and PBC to make those big money fights happen where the challenges are at, and there will be no excuse for him to not make these big fights happen. So it's a big move for Canelo, and it's also a big risk. The money will be there. Of course, you're signing with Al Haymon, so that money is not going to be the issue. It's will you be able to compete with these guys who are up and coming, and they're the hungry guys in the sport, and they're ready to take, control of the sport and take control of boxing. So will Canelo rise to the occasion, or will this kind of, set him up for his way out of the sport? We'll see what happens. But it's tremendous. I really am excited to see what Canelo does next. Obviously, like I said before, the Jermall Charlo fight seems like it's next. I think Canelo beats Charlo. Not to say it won't be competitive. I just think Canelo breaks him down in a few rounds. Even though Canelo's not in his prime and his conditioning isn't the best, I expect him to make changes, despite his age and where he's at in his career. Definitely not the prime Canelo that we've seen, 5 to 6 years ago, but it's still that talent. He's only gotten more experience. He's faced the best fighters there are in the sport of boxing. So I think that plays into his hands, and I think that Charlo, he's gonna have to step up big. He's gonna have to land big shots on Canelo, make him think twice, because otherwise he's gonna get walked down by a guy that hits hard to the body, and when you start protecting your body, he's gonna land something up top. So guys like Canelo, I think Canelo beats Charlo. It's when he faces guys like David Benavidez and David Morrell, who are much bigger and also carry that punch and power, and have been punishing guys. Not to say that Charlo isn't. I'm just saying size, in terms of size and physical strength. These guys are the two Davids, David Benavidez and David Morrell. These guys are scary. But you see, this is what you have to do to make the big fights happen, to be considered a great and get your name back into the conversation for the trending and to be the best fighter in the sport of boxing. You have to make these sacrifices. You have to take these risks to, leave where you were comfortable, leave Eddie in Matchroom Boxing, and to go to the other side to PBC and with Al Haymon. You're going to make more money, but obviously, like I said before, the fights are way more risky because, you have the two Davids, you have Charlo, and I want to see the Errol Spence fight, to be honest with you. I think that's a big fight that should go down in Dallas, not real soon, but maybe 4 or 5 years from now, where you have not that might be milking it a little bit and going a little too crazy. Maybe 2-3 years from now we see Canelo and Errol Spence face off at Cowboy Stadium in Dallas, Texas. I'd love to see that. That's a big money fight. I think that fight sells out easily. But Canelo still has a lot of tests he has to get passed through first before that's even a thought. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Canelo Alvarez signing that 3-fight deal. I'm excited to see it because he could have easily, fought bums and stayed on that side and, still made a lot of money, but he's choosing to take the risk, and I respect Canelo Alvarez for that. But man, it's going to be interesting to see how he fares with all these fighters that, everyone's been asking to see him in the ring with, like David Benavidez, Morrell, Jermall Charlo. Tremendous fights, maybe even Errol Spence or Terrence Crawford. Those are crazy fights, but maybe Terrence is pushing it because he's, I'd see him more at 154, but Earl's big, so maybe that fight at 160. But let me know in the comments, who do you guys think Canelo Alvarez should fight? List 3 opponents. I think it should be number 1, David Benavidez, number 2, maybe David Morrell, number 3, Errol Spence Jr. Those are the most enticing fights to me, but obviously the Charlo brothers seems like the way it's going to start, but either way, I'm not mad at it. I'd love to see that fight as well. But let me know in the comments who you guys think Canelo should fight in this 3-fight deal with PBC and Al Haymon. But thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for the constant support. It means the world to me. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace. That's going to do it for another Nads Fight Media video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been your boy, Matt Nabong, with another video. Hope you guys enjoyed it all. Thank you guys for the constant support. Salute to y'all always. It's been your boy.